Recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Chairman Powell, thank you for joining us. Secretary Yellen, pleasure to be with you again. Look forward to being in the circumstance in which it can be different than virtual. Thank you both for your public service. My question will be directed to you, Madam Secretary. The American Rescue Plan included $350 billion for state and local fiscal recovery fund to be used for emergency funding to distribute to states, counties, local units of government. I know that the department is currently developing guidance in this regard. I'd be interested in knowing the time of that guidance, but I want to highlight for you a circumstance that Kansans and many other states, particularly in the middle of the country, are experiencing. No relief can be for COVID can be taken without looking at its broader consequences. And I'll take us back to what the chairman was talking about winter. A few weeks ago, we had this tremendous cold snap that invaded the country, north to south, from Canada to Texas. And that cold snap created huge increases in utility bills for consumers and even for businesses. It's estimated in Kansas someplace nearly $100 million in utility increases because of 3 days of temperature below zero and the cost of natural gas. In other words, the purchase price that utility companies were encountering to purchase enough gas to keep homes warm, to keep businesses operating was so high that the utility bills now reflect that $100 million increase that was experienced over just a few days. A few examples for you, Madam Secretary. There's a Kansas municipality. Some of our communities generate their own electricity and then sell it to their citizens. But one of those cities in Kansas with a population of less than 300 people had a February gas bill 3/5 of the total amount of their annual city budget. Another city, just over 1,000 people, with household incomes less than $30,000, had a February energy bill over $9 million. A school which typically has a $10,000 a month gas bill in the month of February, it was $400,000. A small greenhouse in rural Kansas received a gas bill of just under $100,000, of course, crippling that business with an unexpected expense. And my question to you is, I would love to have a commitment that you would work with me and others. I think there's other senators on the banking committee and certainly other senators who have experienced the same circumstance. And I would like to see our state and city, our local units of government have the flexibility under the belief that you cannot take the financial condition of COVID in just a vacuum. All the things that pile on when a business is already so fragile, or when utility bills, individuals and families are already struggling to pay their utility bills, we can't take that just in isolation. And Secretary Yellen, I would just ask two things. Want to make sure you're aware of the circumstance, tremendous damage to small businesses and consumers in Kansas and elsewhere. Ask if you also would see that flexibility makes sense to you, on a commitment that you'd work with me to make sure that we can convince you and that you have an understanding of the circumstance, and then an idea of the time frame in which that the guidance might be in place so that relief could be used.
Well, Senator, first of all, let me say I appreciate your describing to me the problems that your state and others face because of the cold weather and the impact on utilities. Second, I promise that we'll work with you, and our staff can be in contact with yours to discuss the needs that your state has to deal with this problem. There is a good deal of flexibility within the law on how the funds can be used. Over the next 60 days, the statute provides 60 days for payments to get out, and we need within those 60 days to clarify what the funds can be used for and can't be used for, and glad to confer with you about whether or not this is within the realm of what the statute has in mind. So why don't we have our staffs talk offline about this?
Secretary, thank you for your answer. And you and I make a great team. We ended this in just Sherrod Brown's 5 minutes exactly. Thank you for that today and your response. I appreciate your willingness to cooperate and your understanding of the tremendous challenge and burden that individuals are having at home. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.